Before the video starts, I need to explain what Memantine is from medlineplus.gov. Memantine is used to treat the symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. Memantine is in a class of medications called NMDA receptor antagonists. It works by decreasing abnormal activity in the brain. It may improve the ability to think and remember, or may slow the loss of these abilities in people who have Alzheimer's. However, it will not cure Alzheimer's or prevent the loss of these abilities at some time in the future. I thought I should explain it a little bit just so you guys know what it is. Alright, let's get to the story. Well, I'm a normal 20-year-old guy, relatively experienced with drugs. I started smoking at 16 with marijuana. Since then, I've tried cocaine, ecstasy, ketamine, LSD, mushrooms, 2CB, Benadryl, DXM, ayahuasca, peyote, yopo, datura, and all kinds of drug combinations. I have had strong trips with extreme doses of LSD, as well as ayahuasca. Even once in an ayahuasca ceremony, I ingested 5 doses of ayahuasca concentrate. That is 5 cups of concentrate. 2 hours after starting the trip, extreme trip by the way, I ingested 2 doses of inhaled ayahuasca powder that instantly after the ingestion, I lost contact with reality. After all this, nothing compares to what I call the incident. So to give you context, about a year ago, I went through my mom's meds and found something called Memantine, a drug for Alzheimer's disease. I did a quick Google search on what it was, and it turns out it's an NMDA receptor antagonist. I researched that the maximum dose per day is 20 milligrams. I also researched that in a moderate dose, you can feel confusion, numbness, drowsiness, dizziness, agitation, hallucinations, and great disturbances. So like the idiot that I am, I grabbed 4 pills that I planned to take at night with 10 beers that I had. That weekend I was alone. It all started at 7 to 8 p.m., drinking beers with the 4 pills. I started to notice some effects in my body, like tingling and some vertigo. I don't really know why, but little by little, I started to take more and more pills until I reached approximately 15 to 17 pills, or 300 to 340 milligrams of Memantine. Before reaching that number of pills, I was already drunk. I'm not so tolerant to alcohol. And at 11 p.m., I lost consciousness. I don't know how, but I'm sure that all the time I was unconscious, or at least the time I don't remember anything, I was hallucinating hard. I remember dying and being reborn who knows how many times. Different civilizations, whole worlds of mathematical equations. I experienced different types of lives when you die. Sometimes I saw geometric figures that were distorted to become other types of figures that were reflected in different astral planes. I also managed to see certain species of entities or gods. Weird, I know. The next thing I remember is regaining consciousness at 4 a.m. in a corner of my room. With the floor full of vomit, I was lost, confused, and with my world literally spinning around. I couldn't see more than 4 meters away because everything was out of focus. I could see the door of my room and the 4 walls going up unfinished. The floor stretched infinitely in all directions. I felt tiny in comparison to everything I saw. I felt very scared. Somehow, I managed to crawl up to my bed and sit down. As I sat down, I lost consciousness again. The next thing I remember is sitting in a corner of my bed, watching a big puddle of vomit on the floor. It was about 7 a.m. At this point, I don't know what the fuck is going on. My vision was completely fucked up. The floor was spinning uncontrollably. Somehow, I managed to adapt to this world, and I was able to walk. My way of walking was completely abnormal, and I was aware of it. It was like walking like a robot zombie, like some kind of disease as I walked. My steps were giant, and my arms, hands, and fingers were bending in all directions. I was really, really fucked. I managed to sit on the sofa in my living room thinking about what the fuck was going on. I did not remember that I had ingested an extreme amount of pills. I thought that at some point, I bought drugs from one of my dealers, and that's why I was like this. A while after thinking, I only thought about the word pill. Suddenly, the phrase, "those fucking pills," passed through my mind and remembered what I had done. A while later, my mother came home. She was somewhat drunk, and obviously, she saw me and asked if I was drunk or something because of how fucked up I was. I instantly said yes. She just told me to go to sleep, which I listened to. At this point, it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I was still just as fucked. My world was spinning. Everything I looked at was excessively big. Sending a text message or reading one was almost impossible. I did not coordinate my movements. When I closed my eyes, I began to hallucinate all kinds of crazy things. There was only one thing that did not disappear from my hallucinations, and they were the mathematical equations. I felt like my whole body vibrated, as if it was about to explode. I also felt an extreme toxicity throughout my whole body. I spent lying all afternoon hallucinating, praying that I would get this all down. At 4 p.m., after sleeping an hour or two, I looked at how the veins in my arms were completely swollen. I went to see myself in the mirror and stare at the veins of my neck and face. I knew that was completely real. Instantly, I thought, what the fuck did I do to myself? I was really scared and about to cry. At this point, I had not stopped vomiting a yellow liquid. I vomited at least twice every 1 or 2 hours. The night came, and I went to the kitchen and drank some water. I kept drinking water and vomiting non-stop until that yellowish vomit stopped coming out and pure water came out. About 9 p.m., none of the effects of the drug had worn off at all, so I went to sleep thinking about surviving the night. At this point, I really thought this would be it, that it would be the end of me, and I would die that very night. At no time did I tell my mother what was happening or to take me to the hospital, maybe out of fear. I know, I'm a complete idiot, and you can judge me all you want, but well, I really could hardly sleep that night. I just passed with my eyes closed, imagining all kinds of crazy things, like a nurse taking care of me by my side, different civilizations going to war. Mathematical equations kept going everywhere. To some extent, it was interesting and intriguing the things I saw, but don't get me wrong, I wasn't enjoying what I was experiencing at all. Many of those hallucinations were sexual things. Then I found out that Memantine increases libido. I vomited multiple times during the night until dawn finally came. The first thing I thought was, I'm alive. I still couldn't walk normally, but I tried to hide it. My vision had improved a lot. The floor was still spinning, but nothing compared to the day before. I still felt that unpleasant vibration and feeling of toxicity throughout my body, and I really couldn't think clearly at all. I was in my own disoriented world. This continued like this for approximately 5 days, 5 days of pure hell. Eventually, all the effects were disappearing with the passing of the days. There is almost no information on the overdose of this drug on the internet, as its abuse is rare. The biggest overdose I found of this drug was a guy who ingested 1,000 milligrams of it. The guy was in a coma for 10 days. He almost died. I'm not going to say don't try this drug for recreational use, as I doubt anyone would be as stupid to do something as I did. What I'm going to say is be careful what you do. To this day, I still think that I could have died. I don't know if at some point I convulsed because I had some bruises on the side of my head. The way I saw my swollen, thickened blue veins practically all over my body, that feeling of vibration throughout my body as if it were going to explode, the ground and everything I saw spinning without control, the sound completely distorted and the same as the touch with things. It is something that I will never forget in my life. So I repeat, be careful with what you do. This experience opened my mind to reflect on what I did and things I have done before. All actions have consequences. If that night I had taken something stronger than Memantine, I would definitely not be here telling you such a stupid story. I guess I'm just a lucky bastard.